All right, so we're diving into a pretty hefty stack here.
Oh, yeah.
Notes. An audiobook looks like someone's on a mission to conquer procrastination.
Definitely looks like it.
We're tackling Darius Fourox' Do It Today. And honestly, some of this stuff really surprised me, like comfort zones.
Right.
Turns out they might not be the enemy after all.
Interesting take.
And then there's this whole idea of living like we're immortal.
I know, right? Sign me up for that.
So maybe we should start with how Darius uses his own struggles as kind of a starting point.
Yeah, he's really open about being a master procrastinator, especially back in college.
He was.
Oh, yeah, big time. And it helps set the stage, for understanding procrastination as this battle against inner resistance.
That makes sense. I think we've all felt that at some point.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That feeling of just not wanting to start something even though we know we should.
But it's deeper than just laziness. Right?
Definitely. He links it to this fundamental human need to avoid difficult tasks.
Okay, so it's more about avoiding discomfort than just being lazy.
Exactly, and that's where it gets serious. He cites this research comparing procrastination to addiction.
Really?
Yeah, with real consequences like depression and low self-esteem.
Wow. So it's not just a quirky habit. It's something that can actually impact our mental health.
Absolutely. It's a wake-up call for sure.
So how do we tackle this? What's Darius's system?
Well, a lot of it hinges on building mental and physical toughness.
Okay, so it's like laying the groundwork.
Exactly. He talks about things like daily exercise journaling, limiting useless information.
All those foundational habits?
Exactly. And then there's this 3-step exercise he describes for personal effectiveness.
Oh, yeah. I was curious about that.
Mm-hmm.
Could you walk me through it? How does it help someone pinpoint their biggest productivity roadblocks?
Sure. So you start by keeping a detailed activity log, like literally writing down everything you do.
Sounds tedious.
It can be, but it's where a lot of people have that aha moment. They realize where their time actually goes.
I can see that.
Then you identify the tasks that aren't actually productive.
Stuff you can just cut out completely.
Exactly. And finally, and this is the most satisfying part, you actually get rid of those time wasters.
That's so simple, but I bet it's hard to actually do.
Oh, it definitely takes discipline.
And then he also makes this point that working too much can be just as unproductive.
That's right. It's about effectiveness, not just busyness. It's not about how much you do. It's about doing the right things.
Okay, so quality over quantity.
Exactly. He also calls out some other sneaky habits like worrying stubbornness.
And let's not forget that constant urge to check our phones and inboxes.
Oh, yeah, that one's a killer.
For sure. But one thing that really stood out to me was his idea that sometimes we procrastinate to avoid facing deeper issues.
Interesting.
Like we're trying to escape life rather than tackling the things that are really bothering us.
That's a really powerful insight. And, it leads him to this more radical solution, disconnecting from the internet entirely.
We always disconnected. How's that even possible these days?
I know it sounds extreme, but he makes this interesting comparison to an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Okay, I'm listening.
So how you go to a buffet and you want to try everything?
You end up overstuffed and feeling kind of gross.
Exactly. He says that's what constant connectivity does to our minds. It fragments our attention and prevents us from focusing on what truly matters.
So it's about being more mindful about how we consume information.
Exactly. It's about being selective and prioritizing quality over quantity.
That makes a lot of sense. But what if the issue isn't distractions? What if it's a lack of passion for the work itself?
That's a great point. And that's where Darius hits on what he believes is the biggest reason people procrastinate.
Which is?
Doing work they don't actually enjoy.
That makes sense.
He talks about how finding his own passion transformed his entire approach to work. It's like a whole different energy when you're doing something you love.
So maybe procrastination is sometimes a sign that we need to reevaluate what we're spending our time on.
Maybe it's a wake-up call telling us to find something that truly lights us up.
That's a big question to consider. So speaking of aligning our actions with our goals, Darius highlights the power of a 30-minute evening ritual.
Oh yeah, to set yourself up for success the next day.
What I find interesting is that it starts with reflection, not planning.
You start by journaling, taking stock of your accomplishments, any lessons learned throughout the day.
Okay, so it's about closing out the day on a positive note.
Exactly. And then you shift to looking ahead, reviewing your calendar for the next day.
Which he says can minimize stress and anxiety.
Exactly, because you're already mentally prepared for what's coming.
He even suggests laying out your clothes the night before.
To reduce decision fatigue in the morning.
It seems so simple, but I can see how that could save mental energy for more important decisions.
Absolutely. It's about eliminating those small decisions so you can focus on the bigger ones.
And then finally, you visualize yourself successfully tackling the next day's tasks.
Priming your brain for action.
I love that this whole ritual sounds incredibly grounding.
It is. It's like taking a moment to create a sense of order and intention before diving into the chaos of a new day.
It reminds me of those ancient habits for modern focus he talks about later.
Bringing that stoic philosophy of managing distractions into our hyper-connected world.
It's like finding that inner stillness amidst the constant buzz of notifications and demands.
It's not easy, but it's so important. He shares the study that found smartphone notifications alone can reduce productivity by 26%.
Wow, that's a serious hit to our focus.
It is. It really makes you think about how much we're letting our devices control our attention.
Speaking of distractions, he also addresses perfectionism as a sneaky form of procrastination.
Ah, yes. The fear of making mistakes can really paralyze us.
Totally. Some people never even start because they're so afraid of messing up.
Right. And then there are those who get stuck in this endless loop of tweaking and refining, never actually finishing anything.
Oh, I know those types. So
Yeah.
how do we overcome this perfectionism trap?
It's about finding that balance between striving for excellence and accepting good enough. Not letting perfection be the enemy of progress.
Makes sense. So it's about getting things done even if they're not perfect.
Exactly. It's about progress over perfection. He also introduces this concept of learned resourcefulness.
Learned resourcefulness, what's that?
It's about developing this toolbox of skills to help you cope with challenges.
Give me some examples.
Things like self-regulating your emotions, problem solving, delaying gratification for more meaningful rewards.
Okay, so it's about building resilience and the ability to bounce back from setbacks.
Exactly. It's about becoming more adaptable and resourceful in the face of challenges.
And he seems to believe that building this resilience through reading is key. He even outlines a strategy for reading 100 books a year.
He's a huge advocate for lifelong learning, but he emphasizes that it's not about just consuming information, it's about applying it.
So it's about making that knowledge actionable.
Exactly. He encourages finding your own reading style, leveraging audiobooks, and focusing on retaining the information.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But 100 books a year, that sounds daunting.
It can be, but he also acknowledges that it can be overwhelming.
It's good that he's realistic about that.
He says it's about finding a sustainable pace and making reading enjoyable.
It shouldn't feel like a chore.
Exactly. It should be something that enriches your life, not adds to your stress.
And sometimes the best way to avoid burnout is to actually step away from work, right? He talks about the importance of taking vacations.
He does, and this is where he challenges conventional productivity wisdom.
How so?
He argues that time off actually improves work performance in the long run.
You're kidding.
Nope. He's serious. The science actually backs him up.
Really? So vacations are good for productivity?
In a way, yes.
Yeah.
He says vacations reduce stress, boost creativity, and increase our desire to be effective with our time when we return.
Interesting. So it's not just about relaxing. It's about coming back refreshed and recharged.
Exactly. He even lists 5 specific benefits he's experienced from taking vacations.
I'm all ears.
First, he says it gives him a chance to assess if he's doing the right work. To step back and see the bigger picture.
That's a good one. It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day and lose sight of your goals.
Exactly. Then he says it gives him time to process ideas. He finds that when he's away from work, his mind can wander and make new connections.
Makes sense. Sometimes you need that distance to gain clarity.
Right. And third, he says vacations give him opportunities to consume art, to visit museums, go to concerts, things like that.
So it's about exposing yourself to new experiences and inspiration.
Exactly.
Oh.
Fourth, he says it allows him to focus on non-work priorities, like spending time with family and friends, pursuing hobbies, things like that.
That's important for balance.
Absolutely. And finally, he says vacations help him realize that resting gets boring after a while.
What? So even relaxing can get old.
It can. After a while, you start to crave that feeling of accomplishment again.
That's fascinating. So it's not about escaping work altogether. It's about using breaks strategically to recharge and refocus.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance between work and rest.
This reminds me of his discussion of time blocking as a way to bring structure and intention to our days.
Oh, yeah. It's about allocating specific time slots for your most important tasks.
So it's like creating a schedule for your day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's more than that. It's about becoming aware of where your time actually goes and making conscious choices about how you spend it.
That sounds like a great way to combat that feeling of being overwhelmed and not knowing where to begin.
Absolutely. It's about taking control of your day instead of letting it control you.
So what are some practical tips for effective time blocking?
Well, both Darius and Cal Newport,
Oh yeah, I love his work.
he wrote Deep Work.
Right, right.
Anyway, they both recommend planning your day the night before,
Makes sense.
blocking out time for those key tasks. They also emphasize the importance of focusing on one task per time block.
Okay, so no multitasking.
Right, and being realistic about how much you can actually accomplish in a given time frame.
It's about being intentional, but also flexible.
Yeah,
Recognizing that things don't always go according to plan.
exactly. It's about having a plan, but also being able to adapt when necessary.
That's key. And once you have a plan, how do you stay motivated to actually follow through?
That's where Darius circles back to the importance of consistency.
Okay, so it's not just about having a plan, it's about sticking to it.
Exactly. And he ties this back to the Stoic philosophy of focusing on what you can control.
So it's about focusing on our actions, not the outcome.
Exactly. He says it's not about trying to do everything at once, but about making daily progress, even if it's just a small step forward.
I like that. It's about building momentum over time.
Exactly. He even suggests aiming for just 0.1% improvement each day.
That feels so much more attainable than trying to make huge leaps all at once.
It is. It's about making those small, consistent improvements that compound over time.
And that seems to tie in with his unconventional view of comfort zones.
Right. He actually challenges the idea that they're the enemy.
I know. It's like everyone tells you to get out of your comfort zone.
And he says it's not that simple. He calls it the slow road to magic.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
He emphasizes the importance of building a strong foundation before taking big risks.
So it's like preparing yourself for those leaps.
Exactly. He talks about cultivating self-reliance, financial stability, supportive relationships, a solid skill set.
It's like creating a safety net.
In a way, yes. It's about building that foundation so that when you do take risks, you're more likely to succeed.
And once you have that foundation, Darius argues that belief plays a crucial role in achieving your goals.
He does. He distinguishes belief from fleeting motivation. You know, that feeling of being pumped up one day and then crashing the next.
I've been there.
He says true belief is an active force, a conviction in your ability to make things happen.
So it's not just about feeling good, it's about truly believing in yourself.
Exactly. And he shares how his own beliefs have shaped his reality.
Yeah.
You know, he's achieved things he never thought possible because he believed he could.
That's inspiring.
Yeah.
It makes you realize that maybe we're limiting ourselves with our own beliefs.
Absolutely. It's a powerful reminder that our thoughts create our reality.
So if we believe we can achieve something, we're more likely to actually achieve it.
Exactly. Our beliefs shape our actions, and our actions shape our results.
Okay, so the takeaway here is to believe in yourself and your ability to achieve your goals.
Exactly. Don't let limiting beliefs hold you back.
So what do you believe is possible? What are you capable of achieving if you truly set your mind to it?
That's a great question. And it leads us to another limiting belief Darius challenges.
Which is?
The idea that we have to constantly compete with each other.
Well, that's a big one. Like
Well-
we're always comparing ourselves to others.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he advocates for what he calls an abundance mindset.
Abundance mindset.
It's the belief that there's enough opportunity for everyone to succeed.
Okay, so it's like a win-win situation.
Exactly. It's about creating value, collaborating, and lifting each other up.
Instead of viewing everything as a zero-sum game.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we can all thrive when we work together and support each other's growth.
That's a refreshing perspective. It makes you wonder if we're holding ourselves back by getting caught up in that competitive mindset.
We probably are. It's so easy to get caught up in comparison and competition.
And speaking of shifting our perspective, he also talks about the importance of mastering the fundamentals through repetition.
He does. He calls it mental toughness through repetition.
Mental toughness through repetition.
He emphasizes that it not only leads to mastery, but also helps you stay sharp over time.
So it's like practice makes perfect, but on a deeper level.
Exactly.
Uh,
He even gives examples of how he applies this to fitness philosophy and writing.
So it's about consistently honing those core skills that form the foundation of your craft.
Exactly. It's about remembering that mastery isn't a destination, it's a continuous journey.
That makes me think about the basics in my own field and how I could be more intentional about practicing them regularly
It's easy to get caught up in the latest trends and techniques.
and forget about those foundational skills that truly matter.
Exactly. So it's about remembering to go back to the basics and keep practicing them.
This makes a lot of sense. And it's not just about external achievements, right? He also talks about measuring your life in a more holistic way.
He does. He introduces 3 unconventional metrics that successful people often use.
Okay, what are they?
Energy work as measured by learning and relationships.
Energy, work, and relationships.
Exactly. He emphasizes that these three areas are interconnected.
Okay, I can see how that would work.
Mm-hmm.
High energy fuels good work, and meaningful work contributes to stronger relationships.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance between personal fulfillment and meaningful contribution.
So how do you measure your own life? What metrics matter most to you?
That's a great question to reflect on, and it leads to the most thought-provoking concept in the whole book.
Which is?
Darius's challenge to live like you're immortal.
Live like you're immortal. What does that even mean?
He clarifies that he doesn't mean literally living forever.
Okay, good, because that's not really an option.
It's about adopting a mindset that prioritizes long-term thinking and impact over short-term gratification.
Okay, so it's about thinking beyond the immediate moment.
Exactly. It's about making decisions that benefit not just our present self, but also our future selves and the world around us.
That's a powerful concept.
Yeah.
It really makes you think about the legacy you want to leave behind.
Exactly. It's about making choices that align with your values and aspirations, even when they require effort, patience, or delayed gratification.
So it's about playing the long game.
Exactly. It's about investing in something bigger than ourselves.
This is where he gets really practical, talking about the importance of saving money, investing wisely, and building financial security.
Right. He also emphasizes prioritizing your health, forming healthy habits, and taking care of your body and mind.
So it's about creating a solid foundation for the future.
Exactly. He argues that these choices, while they might require discipline and sacrifice in the present, ultimately pay off in the long run.
They create a more stable, secure, and fulfilling life.
Exactly. He also stresses the importance of treating people well, cultivating strong relationships, and making a positive impact on the world around you.
It's about shifting away from a me-centered perspective and embracing a more expansive view of our place in the world.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that our actions have ripple effects and that even small acts of kindness can have a profound impact on others.
It's a beautiful vision. And it all ties back to the power of compounding, right? Small, consistent actions taken over time can create extraordinary results.
Exactly. It's like planting a seed. You might not see the fruit of your labor right away, but with patience, nurturing, and consistent effort, that seed can grow into a mighty tree that bears fruit for generations to come.
That's a beautiful analogy. And it highlights the importance of embracing the journey, of finding joy in the process, and of trusting that our efforts, however small they may seem in the moment, can have a lasting impact on the world.
Absolutely. It's about focusing on the journey, not just the destination.
So how can we cultivate this immortal mindset in a practical way? How can we shift our focus to the long term and make choices that benefit not just our present selves, but also our future selves and the world around us?
That's the challenge Darius leaves us with. It's a call to action, an invitation to step into our power, and a reminder that the choices we make today can shape not just our own future, but the future of the world around us. It's a powerful reminder that the choices we make each day, even seemingly small ones, can have a lasting impact.
And it makes you think, right? Like, are we making choices that our future selves will thank us for?
Exactly. And Darius really drives that point home when he talks about the 3 unconventional metrics successful people use.
Oh yeah, energy work measured by learning and relationships.
No.
That was a really interesting framework.
It really is. He makes a compelling case that these 3 areas are all interconnected. You know, high energy levels fuel productive work.
Right, and meaningful work contributes to stronger relationships.
It's all connected. It flips the script on the typical markers of success.
It does. I thought his definition of work was particularly interesting.
Oh, yeah. How he measures it not by output or income, but by how much you're learning and growing.
Exactly. It's a subtle but significant shift in perspective.
It really is. He encourages viewing your career as a continuous learning opportunity, always seeking new challenges and expanding your knowledge base.
This really resonated with me. I've always struggled with the idea of sticking to one career path.
I get that. But Darius reframes it as building a transferable skill set that can be applied across multiple domains.
It's not about being tied to one specific job.
Right. It's about developing skills and knowledge that can serve you in any field.
It's about building a strong foundation, not just for a specific job, but for a fulfilling life.
Exactly. And relationships play a crucial role in that foundation.
Right, absolutely. He talks about the importance of strong connections, not just for personal happiness, but for professional success as well.
He argues that genuine connection is essential for well-being.
It's not about having a huge network of superficial contacts.
Right. It's about nurturing those deep, meaningful relationships with people who share your values and support your growth.
It makes you wonder if we sometimes prioritize networking over truly connecting with people.
Maybe we do. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and forget about the importance of genuine connection.
It's a good reminder to be present and intentional in our interactions.
Absolutely. And this ties into his broader message of living a meaningful life,
Hmm.
one that goes beyond just checking boxes and accumulating achievements.
It's not just about external success.
Right. It's about aligning your actions with your values, pursuing your passions, and making a positive impact on the world.
It's about finding that deeper sense of purpose.
Exactly. That to Darius is true success.
It's a compelling vision, but I can imagine some people finding it daunting. Life is inherently unpredictable,
It is.
and we can't control every outcome. So how does Darius reconcile this need for control with the reality of uncertainty?
That's a great question, and this is where his stoic influences really shine through.
Okay, I'm listening.
He encourages embracing uncertainty, not by giving up control, but by focusing on what we can control: our actions, our responses, and our mindset.
So it's not about ignoring the possibility of setbacks.
Right. It's about cultivating the resilience to navigate them effectively.
It's about being prepared for the unexpected.
Exactly. He suggests expecting bad things to happen.
Whoa, that sounds pessimistic.
Not necessarily. He doesn't mean it in a pessimistic way,
Okay.
but as a way to be mentally prepared and respond with resourcefulness.
So it's about being realistic, but not letting fear paralyze you.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we have the inner strength to handle whatever life throws our way.
That's a powerful idea. And how do we build that inner strength?
He talks about cultivating these universal skills.
Like what?
Things like self-discipline, personal effectiveness, communication, and even physical strength and stamina.
Okay, so it's not just about mental toughness.
Right. It's about developing a well-rounded skill set that can help you navigate any situation.
These aren't just job skills, they're life skills.
Exactly. He emphasizes that developing these core competencies can help us navigate any situation, whether it's in the workplace, in our personal lives, or even in facing unexpected challenges.
It's about becoming more adaptable and resilient.
Exactly. It's about investing in yourself and becoming a well-rounded individual who is equipped to thrive in any environment.
And this ties into his message of working smart and hard.
It does. He challenges the hustle culture mentality that equates long hours with productivity.
Oh yeah, I've definitely fallen into that trap.
He advocates for setting boundaries, leaving the office on time, and not taking work home.
That sounds revolutionary.
It's about recognizing that rest and recovery are just as important as hard work.
So it's about finding that balance.
Exactly. He stresses the importance of a healthy work-life balance and avoiding burnout.
Makes sense. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly. And he even suggests questioning the need for meetings and other time-consuming activities that often detract from our ability to focus on our most important work.
So it's about being more selective with how you spend your time.
Exactly. It's about being strategic with your time and energy, prioritizing the tasks that truly move the needle and eliminating those that don't.
This idea of working smarter, not harder, really resonated with me.
It's not about being busy, it's about being effective.
And this leads to his challenge of the traditional competitive mindset.
Right. He argues that collaboration and support can be more powerful than cutthroat competition.
That's a really interesting perspective.
He advocates for an abundance mindset.
Remind me what that is again?
It's the belief that there's enough opportunity for everyone to succeed.
Okay, so it's not about scarcity, it's about abundance.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that our success doesn't have to come at the expense of others.
We can all win.
Exactly. We can all thrive when we work together and support each other's growth.
That's a powerful message.
Yeah.
And it's a refreshing alternative to the scarcity mindset that often fuels competition and comparison.
It is. It's a shift in perspective that can open up a whole new world of possibilities.
So it's about seeing the world as a place of abundance rather than scarcity.
Exactly. And believing that there's enough for everyone.
I love that. And this brings us back to his central message. Living like you're immortal.
It's a concept that can really transform the way we approach our lives, our work, and our relationships.
It's about making choices that align with our values, our aspirations, and our desire to leave a positive impact on the world.
Exactly. It's about playing the long game, investing in our future selves and in the world we want to create.
It's about making choices that matter.
And it all starts with that first step. And it really is a call to action, an invitation to kind of step into our power and recognize that the choices we make today can shape not just our own future, but the future of the world around us.
Yeah, it's a pretty big idea. And Darius has given us a lot to think about, right? challenging conventional wisdom, prompting self-reflection, offering actionable advice.
Definitely a lot to unpack.
So what's your biggest takeaway from this deep dive into Do It Today?
That's a good question. For me, it's the importance of embracing a long-term perspective, that immortal mindset. It's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day grind and lose sight of the bigger picture.
It's true. It's like we get so focused on checking things off our to-do list that we forget about the bigger picture of what we're actually trying to create.
Exactly. And Darius reminds us that we have the power to shape that bigger picture, to make choices that align with our values and aspirations.
Even when those choices require effort, patience, or delayed gratification.
Right. Exactly. It's about playing the long game, investing in our future selves and in the world we want to create.
And it all starts with that first step.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up our exploration of Do It Today, what's one actionable step you would recommend our listener take to boost their productivity and create a more fulfilling life?
I think it all begins with defining your personal definition of success. Like, what does a truly meaningful and fulfilling life look like to you? It's not about conforming to external expectations, but about aligning your actions with your own values, passions, and aspirations.
That's a great starting point. Once you have that clarity, then you can start setting goals, creating plans, and taking action.
Exactly. And remember, action is key. It's not enough to just consume information. We need to translate that knowledge into tangible steps. Experiment and find what works best for us.
It's about taking ownership of our time, our energy, and our choices.
And putting in the consistent effort to build the life we envision, but also remembering that it's a journey, not a destination.
Exactly.
Embrace the process, celebrate the small wins, and don't be afraid to adjust course along the way. Uncertainty is inevitable, but it also presents opportunities for growth and learning.
It's all about the growth, right? And above all, remember Darius's powerful challenge. Live like you're immortal. Make choices that benefit not just your present self, but also your future self and the world around you.
Leave a legacy you can be proud of.
That's a wrap on this deep dive into Darius Fourox. Do It Today. I hope you found it insightful and inspiring.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep creating the life you truly desire.